Hello, and away you go there. We are live on TikTok as well as YouTube, X, and on Facebook. Mind you, not a lot on Facebook because we're not allowed to go to the group anymore. So all we're allowed to do is to go to my own profile, which is empty. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, we are live on TikTok. What we're going to do is we're going to be going over a few different things about the event that's coming up, Checkmate, the Matrix Live, which is the event on the 1st and 2nd of February. Only what's that? 2.5 weeks away. But also we're going to go over a little bit more on the GDPR. Been talking to a lot of people, and with regards to that, and helping them go through how to approach the GDPR issues. It's your data, right? Talk to the camera, if they are filming you when you go into a shopping center, go into a fast food restaurant like McDonald's, for instance, go into a supermarket, and there you see yourself up on the camera, huge big screen. All right, so hopefully everybody on TikTok is listening. If you've got any questions, I'll try and get between the two of them. If anybody's coming in, there's a few coming in to probably it's going to be on YouTube. So give us a comment just to make sure you can hear me and everything's going on all fine. All right. So I'll just put that on, post a comment. There we are. All right. So then I can put it up and then everybody can see it. So what we're doing is we're talking about the event, really. Checkmate the Matrix.com. That is the actual. Hiya, David. How you doing? So that's what we're actually looking for. Remember the www.checkmatethematrix.com. We've sold out completely of the inner hexagon tickets. You may as well call them VIP tickets. We were trying to be funny when we made it called inner hexagon. You'll know why once you get there. But if anyone's got any questions on TikTok as well, you let me know, and we'll try and jump between the two and answer everybody's questions or whatever. But we did, or I did, a presentation the other day. Can't remember if I went live or not. I did, and I did it with John Doe, and who didn't want to show his face, and he had went around the shopping centres and the fast food restaurants, and he had actually requested his data that they were filming when he's seen it on the big camera above him as he's walking in. So if any of you are going into any shopping centre or a supermarket, or I'm not on about corner shops, little corner shops, and they've got the CCTV and they're trying to look after themselves. I'm not on about that, right? A couple of people says, what about CCTV? Leave them little shops alone, right? They are us, aren't they? Just trying to make a living. I'm talking about the corporations. So the corporations are like the huge supermarkets. They are the fast food restaurants like McDonald's, KFC, or whatever it is that you want. They're the corporations. We need to talk about the corporations. All right. Now, what we need to do, I'm going to read them out. I've actually got them now, right, on here, and I'm going to share them. Can't share them on TikTok, but I can read them out to you on TikTok. And anybody that wants to get a hold of these, what you should do is go to my YouTube channel, Return to True Democracy, and I will attach them onto this video. Not obviously live. I don't know how if you can do that or not, but I will download this and I'll put it back up on a normal video on TikTok, on YouTube, and I will attach the 3 SERs. Sorry, there's 4. One of them is verbal, what to actually say when you go in the shop. A lot of people are panicking about it, right? And then how to follow it up. I've got them here, the templates, so it's all done for you. Now, what I want, right, is to have you go. Someone's just emailed me, and they're going to get all the friends, and they're going to go to the supermarkets. And that's what you have to do. You have to, it's great doing it on your own, right? Like, because that you know, you could get some compensation for it, get a little bit of fiat currency coming in, which is great because it helps, doesn't it? I mean, you got to pay stuff, got to buy food, right? Do all them business and everything. But we want big groups, right, that we can actually have an effect going against these cameras, that these ridiculous big cameras that they're putting up. That's not CCTV. That's not to stop somebody shoplifting or stealing. That is watching you and taking your data, right? That's the difference. And it's a step up. Next thing you know, it's going to be facial recognition, digital ID. Don't complain about it. Do something about it. Start approaching the supermarkets, start approaching the shopping centers, start going into the corporations like McDonald's and all of them and saying, I want my data. Now, a lot of people are panicking. They go, I'd love to do it, but I don't know what to say. So I'm going to go over it right now. Okay. And I'm going to show you and I'm going to read it out to you. I'm just going to have a quick look on, because sometimes I feel as if, you know, although I'm going live on TikTok, we've got like, you know, 20 odd people on there. It's hard to go between the two. So I'm just going to quickly see if there is any like kind of questions, you know. Hey Dorian, how are you going? Yeah, it is United Kingdom of China. It's nuts. So we have to fight against them, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Sure, I thought I had seen a couple of questions. Just see that. Have a quick scan over there quickly. Someone was saying something about like electricity bills. I don't really deal with electricity bills, so I don't really know much about that. I don't really get involved in that. Any advice on a council tax court summons? Well, it's not really a court summons, is it? We know it's fake. It's up to you what you want to do with that. Do you know? And who was that? I'd say Danny Roberts. Well, Danny, do you know what I would be doing? Like I would be waiting. Only if it was me, though. I'm not giving advice to anyone. Don't give legal advice, marital advice, financial advice, nothing. Parental advice, nothing. Everyone has to do whatever they want to do. Okay. But, you know, if I was dealing with it and it was my summons, I would wait until I got a liability order. And then I would issue, because GDPR is so powerful, I would issue or I would send to them an SAR, which means subject access request. And I would be asking for all the paperwork and all of the supporting like documentation, as well as the legally executed court order, because a liability order is a court order, right? That's what I'll be having. Now, we have got case law upon case law upon case law that supports that they need all this support and documentation and paperwork correctly signed, right, through the courts. And they never do it. Why? Because it is a business model that the councils have created for profit. Everything is all about profits to the councils, to the corporation. They're all corporations. All right, we know all this, and I'm not going to go down the path of like corporation, blah, blah. I know it all, right? I mean, I don't mean that rude. I know it all, but you know, we know, right? So that's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't worry about the summons. I would be dealing with it after, where you can actually fight them with GDPR. Okay, hope that makes sense, you know. Well, when you get back off your holiday, what does that say? Something like Kiru, I think. Then crack on with it then. All right. So hi John, we've got John coming in as well as Dorian. Good to see you all coming in there, as well as Archie. Nice to see you all coming in. It's great. So like I say, I'm going to share these with the screen in a bit, and I will be going over, and even on TikTok I'll read them out so you'll be able to hear it as well. Now I haven't got anybody else on with me today, so you know, TikTok I usually have to put it across, and now you can only hear them on the speaker. But today I'm on my own, so you'll not have to worry about that, right? You'll just have to listen. Obviously, you can't see on TikTok the actual screen when I'm sharing it, but I will be able to read it out to you as well. All right. So, right. It's been 3 months since you sent the first SER. Can I still send the SER2? Yeah, you can, and just continue where it was. Don't worry about it. You don't have to go back to the very, very beginning again. All right. So that's fine. Let's have a look. I'm trying to catch up. I followed the SEO, haven't done the SEO2 yet as I forgot it. I've just read that question. It's jumping all over the place. It's difficult with this. Hang on. What's the deal with HMRC and tax? Depends what you mean. You know, I mean, like, have you declared yourself as being like a taxpayer? Have you put yourself in as a person that pays tax, and then you've actually went and declared it and you're doing a self-assessment? You know, if you're doing that, then you have to pay tax. Yeah, so just think about that one. All right, let's just get back to here, and then we're going to go on. Who decides the amount of compensation per shop? Were you on the other day, Dorian, when John Doe, right, was showing? We didn't show you, but he was talking about we went on to that solicitor's website, and it was showing you the levels of compensation depending on the breaches that they had done and the anxiety and the distress, etc. And it started off at something like £4,850 or something like that. That was the bottom rung going up. So, you know, I'm going to go over the paperwork now, and you'll see where I'm going when you see that. So, you know, you'll see what I'm trying to get at. But what we're going to do is you can have your level at their bottom level, that solicitor's bottom level, which is about, say, 5,000 to make it easy numbers. But when we do the lowering part, right, I'll show you how to do it and what we call like an opportunity to sell. I'm going to read it out to you now. Okay, so what's that say there? It's jumped. I've been challenging OVO with 3-letter process. I never do the 3-letter process since September, and then sent the DSAR. No response whatsoever. Yesterday received mail from Engage. Do you send a DSAR? Well, the thing is, the reason why we've got, if you look at my SER, right now, these ones I'm going to read out are different because they are literally specifically designed for shopping centers, shopping like malls, like supermarkets, you know, corporation shops, not little shops. Stay away from them. Let the people be the people, right? But so it's different to what I'm going to read out, so don't get them cross-wired. But like what we're asking for when you're dealing with debt collectors that I do, right? It's a deed of assignment. There's no deed when you're talking about like OVO. It's like, obviously that's some kind of energy company, like pretending to supply your energy. Yeah, I mean, I get it, I know all of it, right? But the ones that I have and have designed, it's like that different, you know. So I have one of the guys that's going to be the door staff, right, on at the event in February. He's done tons of videos. He chases, that's not right, I shouldn't say it like that, but he gets rid of a lot of these energy companies off the street when they try and hassle people at their homes. And he travels around going to different people's houses and puts them correct. He corrects their false accusations and whatnot, you know. So yeah, all right, so just bear that in mind. There's other ways of doing it, but I mean, it's up to you what you do and send. I'm not, like I say, I do not give advice, you know. I'm not legally qualified, right? I don't do any of that. Certainly not legally licensed or anything. I just talk about my experience and what goes on and what's happened to me and my family and friends. Okay, so everyone has to bear that in mind. Right, there are some strange folk knocking around these places, you know. So Louise says, I sent a SCR to HMRC and they said it did not pass security due to numbering and typos, but they did not elaborate. What a joke. That is a joke, isn't it? That's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Let's make something up and we can get rid of this thing. That's nuts, isn't it? All right, I'm going to quickly have a look, see if there's any more, and then I'm gonna read this out. When you go to court, what's the cost? I don't know, but it's less than what you actually have to pay to your debt collector. So, might go out and get a sandwich board. Cool. All right, where are we? Can you start the SCR? Whoops, a daisy. Can you start the SCR route even if you have stated pay? Oh, started. I bet you that means with a debt collector. If it is a debt collector, like say that says they've purchased the debt, right? Well, yeah, actually anyone, you can. You can actually claim your money back as well. You know that if you've been paying on a direct debit and you've made an arrangement to pay, you've got like, you know, Lowell and Cabot and PRA Group and Link Financial. These are ones that are always saying they buy the debt, and they haven't. They haven't done it legally. They have no legally executed deed of assignment. Therefore, they have no proof of ownership of the debt. That means they have no chose in action. Chose, CHOSE. It is a thing enforceable in court, and they haven't got one. So they can't take you to court, right? But they pretend they can. And then, I mean, what they do is they lie actually to get you into court. So we need to be on the other side and prove that they have no legally executed deed of assignment. Anyway, let's go back to the shopping center. All right, so like John Doe short, and he's got his first payment. He got it was it last week? I can't remember when he was on. What day is this now? Tuesday. It's Tuesday. All right, so I've got my Celtic top on. Celtic are playing tonight. So the he got £1,000 there just to settle, so they didn't have to go to court. So that's what you've got to be thinking of. You know, this is, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you the paperwork to get them along those lines. And if you're on TikTok, then you have to listen to this, okay? So someone on TikTok's just saying it was Lowell that they were dealing with an SER, and then Lowell offered them 60% discount if they paid it in full. Listen here. Let's just say you have a £10,000 debt. Lowell will pay roughly £200 for that, right? £200 for £10,000, roughly 2p in a pound, 2 pence. So don't, you know, what they're doing is like they're still going to be ripping your eyes out by letting you have 60% discount. If you want to find an SER, that's Paul68, then go on to my YouTube channel, Return to True Democracy. Then you can go to the playlist. If you go to one of my playlists, it's the one on debt, and all of the templates are in there. Okay, so yeah, try not to get into trouble, Tony, if you're at work. You know. Cabot asked me to give them 3 months to supply me with data. Yeah, they don't need 3 months. And they need to have specific like reasons why if they want to ask for longer. Rangers, get away, Dorian. We'll have to let them win one game. Come on, but we can't like let them get all crying. Okay. All right. Now then, like I say, so use listen up on TikTok. I'm going to just read it out. Everyone, I'm going to share the screen. Let me have a look. We're going to go with the verbal one first, which is like, obviously, if you're there, if you're in the shop. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Hang on a second. I just need to move my little TikTok camera. And, oh, need to move it again. Put you over there. There you go. This is like in the way. Let's put you somewhere. There, that's better for you. Where's my thing? Share the screen. Where is it? Present. Share screen. And let's get it then. All right. So we need the verbal one. Verbal SEO. So listen to this, people. Share that there now. All right. So obviously this is just a template. So, you know, on TikTok, listen to this. This is what we've got. This is when you're walking up to them. Okay. So it says here, good morning, afternoon, whatever. My name is Peter. I would like to make a verbal subject access request under Article 15 of the General Data Protection Regulation, also known as GDPR. I have observed that your CCTV cameras are capturing and processing my personal data, including images of my face during my visit here. GDPR gives me the right to access any personal data that you hold about me, including CCTV footage. I am requesting access to all video footage, audio, or other personal data you have recorded of me during my time on your premises today, specifically between, and give them the times when you've been in. Obviously, it's going to be different depending on your venue, be it like, a big shopping center if you've walked around for a while, or just in a supermarket and you've walked straight in and asked them. But that's just common sense. Details of why my personal data is being processed and under what legal basis under GDPR Article 6. Any recipients or third parties to whom this data has been disclosed or will be disclosed. I should change that a little bit. Information on how long this data will be retained and the criteria used to decide this. I would also like confirmation of my rights under GDPR, such as the rights to rectification, erasure, and restriction of processing, and whether any automated decision making or profiling has occurred related to my data. Now, listen up on TikTok as well. If they question the legitimacy of a verbal SCR, you would say, I would like to clarify that GDPR explicitly permits a subject access request to be made verbally. Article 15 does not specify that requests must be written. As per guidance from the Information Commissioner's Office, that's the ICO, organizations are required to process verbal requests in the same way as written ones. Your organization is legally obligated to comply with this request within 1 calendar month of today, which is, and then give them whatever date it is. Failure to comply is a breach of GDPR and could result in a complaint to the ICO or legal action. Now, if they attempt to refuse or delay your request, you say again, I would like to remind you that ignoring or refusing a subject access request is a serious breach of GDPR. I am documenting this interaction as evidence of my verbal request. If I do not receive confirmation that my request is being processed along with the requested information within a legally required time frame, I will escalate the matter to the ICO for investigation. Then you would end the actual interaction by saying, thank you for your time. I trust you will handle this request appropriately and within the GDPR's specified time frame. Please let me know if you require any further information from me to process this request. Okay, so it says there, this script ensures clarity, professionalism, and legal accuracy. Ensure you record the interaction for evidence to follow up with a written SCR if needed. So I'm just going to stop sharing, and I will come back in here. So when it comes to recording the situation, I would have just one of them tiny little cameras, like you can see here. Let me get rid of that my own comment. Where is it now? There. Okay, so on here, this is big, right? You can get tiny little ones, okay, just like a little button, and then you can actually do the recording. So you could read that out. Obviously, just get it in your mind. I wouldn't walk in, with a letter. There wouldn't be any harm, I suppose, just having a little card and just reading it off the card to the security guy, the security manager, maybe even the store manager. Depends on the circumstances. When I was dealing with the security staff, right, which is just a big security guard, they were getting very angry and very aggressive. And don't you do this? And if you don't like this, don't you come back in here? This was a giant store, this was a big, it's the biggest, store around near me. We live in a little village, there's no shops, but and I didn't get aggravated. I just laughed at him and left, but this is the thing you have to be careful of. And you just have to be very polite, very professional, right? And laid back in a certain way. All right. Has anyone got any questions on that from on YouTube? Just while I quickly check the TikTok one as well. Right. So any questions, just put them up and I'll answer them for you. My YouTube channel, Return to True Democracy. Tracy, Return to True Democracy. Hi from Scotland. Hey, look, see, I've got my Celtic top on. Because I am Scottish, believe it or not. The first game I ever went to watch was a Celtic game, and I was only a wee boy. What's that say there? I got my saw from Lowell. What am I looking for in the? You mean you got a reply from them? What you'll get in the reply from Lowell is we're not giving you anything. So you're asking for the legally executed deed of assignment. They're going to tell you can't have that. It's like commercially sensitive. It's got none of your data on. It's private. We're only doing this on a private sale. It's nothing to do with you. You know. I want to join, be active but lawful. Is there a gain? All the better. Don't know really what that means. Join my group or what? I don't really know. My bank has written and said that they are taking away my overdraft. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, there's not much you can really do about that. Yeah. If your PCN is rejected, even when you tell them about your data, I don't really know what that means either. How can you get in touch? Well, you can message me straight on TikTok if you like, or you can email gold@claimistrawman.com. Are you supposed to read that off a sheet or amend it and hand them a printout? No, definitely don't hand them a printout. I'm going to go over it now, John, and you'll see exactly what to do. That bit, that was the verbal part. Okay, you've always got to do the verbal part first, be it in a shopping center, quick food, fast food restaurant, or something like that. Okay, you could read that off a card, but you don't give it to them because later on, now, right, I'm going to show you the next one, the next stage to do, which is the written SER, which is a second one. Now, if you were doing it to a debt collector, a lot of people here on TikTok are doing it to a debt collector like Lowell, Cabot, PRA Group, that type of thing. You would send the first SER off, then you would send a follow-up one. Once you've done the verbal one, the written one, which is the first written one, it still is actually the second follow-up SCR though, isn't it? Subject access request. So it's slightly different because of the different circumstances. So that first one that I've just read out, and it's recorded, I'll make sure that this live gets recorded and put up on my channel as well, and I will send it out to my email list. Then, this next one I'm going to read out to you. This is a written one. This is what you would send off. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, and that is unfortunately very true. That just, you know what I mean? But the security guards, I mean, I've worked security, not in a shop, like in a nightclub, but like it's you don't need to you just got to be respectful to everybody. It doesn't matter what they are. Would have to read that off a card or a piece of paper. It will take a while to memorize. Yeah, obviously with that, then you can have that and then make your own version that's easier for you to remember. It doesn't have to be as long as that. In reality, all you have to say is, look, I've noticed you're taking my data. I need that under GDPR. So you have to supply me with my data. As long as you're saying it respectfully, and that's all you have to say. You don't have to say everything what I did. But at least this one will give you the skeleton, the bones for you to create your own, and basically what to do. And you could have just a little card, right, and just read it off the card, if you've got, or try to memorize it, and if you got mixed up, look at the card and make sure. But all it is like, give me my data, I've seen you've took it, and there you go. I think you're talking about like a private car parking company. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you do? So you've made an appeal. I would be sending them a notice telling them they've got no contract, because they haven't got a contract. All right. Yeah, and you could do that. Just like you ask Chat GPT to kind of go over that. Yeah, but or you have your own version, put it into Chat GPT and say, does that make sense to you? Can you rearrange it? But remember, we like, well, most people probably know, like on here, I have me and Dime Bar, we create AI chatbots from the scratch. So they're not allowed to look on Google, they're not allowed to search anywhere apart from all the legislation that we put into there. So then we come up when it's got solid like suggestions from Chat GPT. I wouldn't use a normal one because They just look on Google, and what's Google full of but government propaganda? Okay, but anyway, so you must have jumped from who was that there? Zane. You know, like you must have jumped from TikTok to YouTube. That's good. Anyway, I'll share it. TikTok, you listen. This is the second one. This is the first written SCR. This is purely just for shopping, right? But we're asking for our data that they're taking on the cameras, which is how we need to fight back. We need them to be closing down all these cameras. We don't want cameras like, you know, when you're trying to buy, you know, like your beer and crisps, like to go and watch the football, right? There's a big video in front of your face, right? Like I said, I put the plastic bag over the actual camera and they go mental. But it's my data, and I have not given them any permission, any under Article 6 of GDPR, and it needs to be clear and unambiguous consent. Okay, but let's me quickly have a look at which is going to be the shopping SCR, that one, right? This is the second one. Okay, so it's the first written one, but because we're actually following up from the verbal one, then where am I now? So share screen. Shopping, there we go. All right, share it. All right, so listen out, you people that are on TikTok, and I will read this out to you. Obviously the ones that are on YouTube can see the top, and I'm going to attach them all on once I've recorded all of this. So we'll attach all of these, so we'll have the top part with the address and blah blah blah. So the data protection officer, and that's who you do it to. Don't try and get the director's name. You don't need anything like that. It's the data protection officer. I am writing to follow up my verbal subject access request made on whatever that date in the location of the supermarket or store or venue, whatever it is, in accordance with Article 15 of the General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, and Data Protection Act 2018. During my visit, I observed your CCTV system actively capturing and processing my personal data, including facial images. This constitutes personal data under GDPR Article 4.1. Despite my lawful request made verbally as permitted under Article 15, your staff erroneously stated that no such law exists and refused to process my request. Remember, this is a template, right? So you can edit that, take that bit out. They might have said, yeah, fine, here's my head office address. So remember, it's just a template. It's just an example, so you can edit it as sees fit to your circumstances. To ensure compliance, I now reiterate my request in writing. Copies of all personal data, including but not limited to video footage, audio recordings, and metadata captured by your CCTV system during my visit to your store on the time and date. Details of the purpose for processing my data and the legal basis under Article 6 GDPR. Any recipients or categories of recipients to whom the data has been disclosed. The retention period for my data or the criteria used to determine this. Confirmation of my rights under Article 16 to 20 of GDPR, including correction, erasure, and restriction of my data. Information regarding the source of my data, if not collected directly from me. Details of any automated decision-making or profiling related to my data. I attach evidence of my identity. I mean, you don't have to put that bit in, but I've included it to make it very clear. And my recording of the verbal request as proof. As the statutory time frame for responding begins from the initial verbal request, your response is now overdue. I expect you to comply with this request within 14 days of this letter. If you fail to comply, I reserve the right to escalate this matter to the Information Commissioner's Office, that's the ICO, and consider further legal action to enforce my rights. Yours sincerely. So I'm going to stop sharing there and come back in, put my little TikTok camera back there. So, excuse me that. All right. let me have a look. So, what's that say? Yes, that's correct. They're advising me to speak to an IAS to appeal. Um, Not them, as they will not change their mind. So I'm presuming that's like the actual parking company. So the parking company, they've got so many different things you can actually hit them with. Actually email me, all right, gold@claimyourstrawman.com, and I'll send you a big pile of notices, and you can pick which one suits your circumstances for parking. I don't get involved. I don't give any more than that, but I have got some good notices. Any advice concerning universal credit, no matter what I say, I get ignored. About what? I don't know what, you have to tell me what it's for. But remember, again, or reiterate, I don't give advice. I just give like my life experiences, my friends and family's life experiences, with no legal advice, nothing like that in here. We're not lawyers. We're not trying to be. We're not pretending to be. We're giving you life experience, okay? And that's all. All right. Hiya, Zoe. How are you doing? Good to see you again. Say you were in Tesco, would you go to the customer service and ask for your data? That's what I would do. I'd go to the customer service, or say to the customer service, should I ask you, or should I go to the security desk? Which do you think would be best? Or would you like to get the manager? Maybe that would be better for you, and ask them like that, as long as you're being polite, you know. So yeah, but just remember, like Dorian, I'm going to attach, or I'm going to, once this is finished, right, I'm going to download it from YouTube, and then, or whatever it's called, StreamYard, and then I'll put it up again on my channel, my proper channel on YouTube, and I'll attach all of those so you can just get it all printed off. I'm going to do it for you. Look how much I do for you, Dorian. All right, even though you said that horrible word of Rangers. All right. What's that say, Peter? Thanks to you and what you are teaching, I took on Traffic London, I presume that, and won. Took me over here, but I won. Awesome. Look, see, that's what we need. More wins like that. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm just going to have a quick look at TikTok, make sure I've got any questions on there. If your PC is, well, I've already done that one. Can you start all over again? I missed it. Honestly, go to the TikTok. Sorry, go to my YouTube channel. All right, Mucka, and you can get like the whole recording plus all of the what do you call it? The attachments. I'll put them all up in there. If credit reference gives incorrect info, you can send an SAR. Who's that? Enough is enough. You can send an SAR to the credit reference agencies. Does anybody on here, TikTok or on YouTube, have any of you signed a contract with a credit reference agency for them to have all your data? Has anyone made an agreement with them? I haven't, right? So I'm pretty sure that they are actually breaching data all the time. And then they share it with everyone with no consent. Hey, look at that. Just think of that. Can you do this with a camera? Leave at the self-service checkout. Yeah, that's Christopher. Is that Christopher? Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. The first time I had like a what do you call it? Like, let's just say like an issue, right? Was with the not with the self-service camera, but I always put a bag over the camera so they can't film me. Now I just put glasses on and pull my hood down and that. But and the security would go mad, and I didn't have time to actually go through all this because I was laughing, to be honest. I was joking, but I had to get back, because the dogs, were being alone for a few hours. I mean, they're all gone now. I've only got the little mouse left. So that's why we had to get back to them, because they weren't great. You know what I mean? But yeah, self-service checkout, that's exactly what it is. If you well, I've answered that, isn't it? If credit reference gives incorrect info, I've already answered all them. I must be jumping backwards and forwards. Anyway, so no, so none of you have given any consent, right, to these credit reference agencies. So just bear that in mind. Send them an SAR, and all you're asking for is your data. Give me the data. right? And where did you get it from? Who are you sharing it with? Now their attitude, the same as the councils, the same as these bigger corporations. You know, I'm not talking about all the supermarkets. We don't know yet. This is the testing ground. Okay, this is what we should be doing. But like councils, the ignorance and the arrogance is overwhelming. When they think they don't have to give you the data because of why. I just don't get it, you know. Um, yeah, and you know, robots will, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, actually, no, I've got a friend. I used to train in my gym. Used to I used to teach him, and he actually installs all of these electronic things on the shelves. They know when one thing's gone off a shelf. The whole supermarket knows one thing, and they know that that has to be replaced. So how far is it before they'll actually start replacing it with a machine as well? It's, you know, it's not that far off. You know, it's not you know. Anyway, so have I been on 40 minutes already? Wow. All right, let's get on to the next SAR, which is the letter before action. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the letter before action. So this is the next one that you send. Now, this is presuming that you haven't got what you want. Okay, they haven't supplied the data. They might do, and then there'll be a different track, or you know, you're going to ask for compensation. All right. But or if they supply it and in time there's nothing you can do. If you go, there's all your data, bye, you know, that's it. You know, if they refuse at any time, even if it's in the shop, you have an immediate claim. They can't give you your data after that and say it's all fine. You can still claim compensation because they refused initially. Keep that in mind, people, okay? Right, but now I'm going to share the screen again. Where are we? Share. And I will get the next one up. Which is the letter before action. Here we go. Right, listen up, you people on TikTok. I'm going to read it out to you. So, again, it's talking about all the names and addresses. You can get that. Letter before action. Dear Data Protection Officer. Reference, breach of GDPR, failure to respond to subject access request. I am writing regarding your failure to respond to my subject access request made on whatever date and reiterated in writing, made verbally on that date, then reiterated in writing on the next day, pursuant to Article 15 of the General Data Protection Regulation and Section 45 of the Data Protection Act 2018. To date, I have not received a satisfactory response to my request for the following personal data. Copies of my personal data, including CCTV footage from whatever location and date, details of processing purposes, recipients, retention periods, and other related GDPR obligations. This failure constitutes a serious breach of your obligations under GDPR and the Data Protection Act 2018. You are reminded that GDPR Article 12(3) requires that you respond within 1 month from the date of my initial request, which is now long overdue. Unless I receive the requested information in full within 14 days of the date of this letter, I will take the following actions. File a complaint with the Information Commissioner's Office, that's the ICO, initiate legal proceedings for non-compliance under GDPR, which may include seeking damages for distress caused by your failure to process my data request lawfully. This letter serves as a formal notice of my intention to pursue these remedies should you fail to comply. Okay, that is a letter before action. I'll stop sharing that and I'll come in. The reason why you do this, the reason why, first of all, you need to do the verbal one. But it's the same with the debt collectors. It's the same with the council. You need to follow pre-action protocols. You cannot take somebody, a corporation, be it a council, a shop, or a debt collector, straight to court unless you go through all of the pre-action protocols. So if it was a debt collector, you would do SCR, then you do the follow-up SCR within a month or when they responded. Even if they responded in 3 days, that's when you send your second one. Presuming they haven't given you the legally executed deed of assignment, which does not exist. Then you send them the letter before action, the one that I've just read out. And the next one that I'm going to show you, right, which you may or may not want to do with the debt collector, but I always do because I like to make sure they can't argue. So I send them the intent to prosecute notice, which is very similar to the letter before action. Now, I'm telling you now, right, when I'm dealing with debt collectors, or a lot of my friends or my group, my private group are dealing with debt collectors, people like PRA, Cabot, Lowell, Link, they always send a defense in when we file an N1 court saying they haven't followed pre-action protocols, even though we have. So we have to go through and rebut and do things like that. And they always ask for it to be struck out, the case, because there's no case to answer because we haven't followed pre-action protocols. That's why I'm just telling everyone you have to be so strict when you're doing your pre-action protocols. Don't jump, don't miss a step, because they will get it struck out of court. Make sure you follow it, okay? So fingers crossed. That's why I'm not being, anal about it. For me, I'm being hopefully helping you so you can actually do it correctly and not have them, because they will mess you about at any time that they can, All right. What's that say? Do you know if I can claim for privacy breach as Jacob's debt collector peering through my windows? I mean, that there is trespass, isn't it? Right? I mean, if you have a stranger, some freak peering through you, that's trespass. That's like the castle doctrine, is it not? We need to protect our lives, limb, and property. Little bit much, but that's definitely, I would be doing them. And what is it for? Is it for a liability order? I'd be definitely doing that. Well, look, see, Doran's even said it. Castle property. Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, Asda is bad for facial recognition. I have asked the manager about the cameras and they said it's for your safety. I laughed and said, I want my data. And she replied, not facial recognition. Yeah, see, that's a refusal, Nick. So there we go. You've already got a claim. You should get one of them tiny little cameras so they can't see it. Get that all recorded. Boom, there you go. You've got your claim already. You can get money for that straight away. Okay. If you've not paid or acknowledged in debt in 6 years, it's statute barred. It certainly is. You're 5 years if you're in Scotland. Lowell's no deed of assignment after first SCR. Do a send second? Absolutely, Valerie. Send the second one. Credit reference agencies a private corporation? Of course they are. Yeah, they all are. All right, that looks like that's done. Who was I up to on here? What's that saying there? Sent over an email. Hope I hear from you. All right. Yeah. I mean, just bear this in mind, right? I'm telling you now, I've been fighting through my emails today, right? I get, and I'm not kidding. I wish I was, right? Over 200 a day. Okay. So, and I'm on my own. I've got no help. I don't, and I'm organizing this event, Checkmate the Matrix Live. So go to checkmatethematrix.com and then you can be at the live event. All right. I was just talking today. I was talking to our MC, Eddie Elwood. All right. I'm gonna get him up on here and I'm gonna share the screen so you can see who he is. Right, let's go and I'll search for him. Right, so I'm going into Prime Video. Right, and I'm going to share that screen. All right, you can't see him on TikTok. You should see him. He's enormous. Right, the biggest guy. This guy is 5 times Mr. Universe. Right, that's more times than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Share there. There he is. That's Eddie Elwood. So he's our MC. All right. I'll turn it around actually so you can see him. Right, there's Eddie. That's Eddie Elwood. 5 times Mr. Universe. Absolutely huge. Winner of England's Strongest Man. Yeah. And it tells you about his into the dark world of working on the doors and the trouble it brought to Eddie. Right. So he used to run all the security on the doors around the Northeast. So you can imagine the type of things that they're actually talking about. So stop sharing there and come back in. And he's a great guy. I was just talking to him on the phone today. He's a really good friend of mine. And, he fought the council all the way through lockdown, right? Because he's got his own gym. He kept his gym open, and he's not only is he was a boxer before he went into the bodybuilding, so a noted boxer. He's going to be the MC for the event. All right. I need to go and get one. I've actually just bought I bought a lot of different things. Stab proof vest I bought, but I need to get one of them. But you know, but yeah, sent an email. Yeah, peering through your doors is bloody trespass for sure. I'm telling you, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know Jeff Capes, but he definitely did. Eddie did, and used to run them all. And he's going to be doing the MCing for the event, checkmatethematrix.com. Um, you know, so no messing around because he sort you all out. And obviously, like, you know, we've got a big group here is in the Northeast. There's a lot of us, like, very friendly, very close. We know everybody. We know everybody that runs the venues. That's why we go to the certain hotels we'd go to that when we run our venues, because then nobody can mess around. Because we know the owners, we know the managers, we know the venues, and obviously all the security staff. We know everything. So that's why we do it up here, and you know, we don't get messed around by some strange people. I've had friends of mine that have had their I need to put my battery in here, that have had, you know, problems with their venues because of jealous fools that are in what they could call this truth community, bunch of freaks. All right, just need to plug my phone in because it's going to switch the what do you call it? It's going to switch the phone off for TikTok. And we don't want to lose the TikTok, do we? All right. All right. So let me go on get the last. Now, this is what I was saying. Once you've done that letter before action, we do one more, which is called the intent to prosecute. But this is also, this is in a shopping scenario. This is in a venue like supermarket, shopping mall, fast food, like, you know, McDonald's, that type of stuff, you know. And, you know, if you've got a favorite of any of them, and somebody mentioned it, do I have to go to a different town? And did John Doe, not his real name, he's from our group, and he's getting money now already, getting compensation given to him, you know, because he's following the steps that we've shown them all. And this is what I want everyone around the country to do it. This is how you get rid of like the actual cameras. Right now, I don't mind CCTV when people are trying to stop people stealing, right? But by, like, you're trying to, like, you know, just normal walking in and out of things, you know, which is, wait till I show you the ones to do for the car parking. That's where we really need to go as well. But anyway, where am I? Intent to prosecute. Opportunity. There we go. So I'm just going to get that. So let's share. So where is it? Present. Share screen. There it is. All right, here we go. Let me get my little TikTok camera back on. Yay! All right. So then, I'll read this one out to you. So, data protection officer again. Notice of intent to prosecute. Reference breach of GDPR. Failure to respond to subject access request. Dear data protection officer, security manager. I would stick with data protection officer. I wouldn't even put that in there. Stick with that. I'm writing to formally notify you of my intent to pursue legal action against shopping centre, supermarket, whoever that would be. Put that in red so you can all know what you're doing. For failing to comply with your statutory obligations under the General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, and the Data Protection Act 2018. Despite my verbal subject access request made on whatever date, let's put that in red for you. Reiterated in writing on, and then there's that date, the follow-up. Okay. Oh, I missed it. There we are. You have failed to respond adequately or within the statutory time frame outlined in GDPR Article 12.3. This failure represents a clear violation of my rights under GDPR and constitutes unlawful processing of my personal data. Details of breach. Failure to provide personal data. You have not provided access to my personal data, including CCTV footage and other requested information. Failure to acknowledge the request. You failed to acknowledge my lawful SAR under Article 15, despite clear evidence that such a request was made. Number 3, unlawful processing. By not addressing the legal basis for processing my data, you remain in breach of GDPR requirements under Article 6. Intent to prosecute. Under GDPR, I am entitled to take the following actions. Number 1, file a complaint with the Information Commissioner's Office, the ICO, which may result in enforcement action and significant financial penalties against your organization. Number 2, pursue legal proceedings for non-compliance and damages caused by distress arising from your breach. Opportunity to settle. This is the important part. Your opportunity to settle. This is what you're giving them. Make sure everyone can see my Celtic badge on TikTok. In the interest of resolving this matter amicably and avoiding unnecessary court proceedings, I am willing to offer you an opportunity to settle this dispute before initiating legal action. The following actions must be completed within 14 days of the date of this notice. Provide a complete response to my SCR, including all requested personal data, example, CCTV footage, metadata, blah, blah. Confirm the legal basis for processing my data and provide all related information required under GDPR Article 15. Number 3, offer a written apology acknowledging your failure to comply with GDPR and provide assurance of future compliance. Pay a settlement amount of, and then we're going to do a reasonable amount. That solicitor's company said 5,000 or 4,850 to start with, but we'll say between 1,000 and 3,000 if they're going to settle, because then we don't have to go through the court proceedings, as compensation for the distress caused by your breach. Next steps. Should you fail to comply within this time frame, I will proceed with the following actions without further notice. Submit a formal complaint to the ICO for investigation, file legal proceedings in the small claims court, put that in red for you, to seek damages and enforce my rights under GDPR. Please treat this final opportunity to resolve this matter amicably. I trust you will recognize the gravity of the situation and respond promptly to avoid further escalation. So there you are. You're actually seeing that you've got given them the opportunity to cure, and it gives you the opportunity to gain compensation rather than going to court. So I'll just stop sharing and come back in. Settle my camera down for my little TikTok people. Okay. So facial recognition is in doctor surgeries. Can we do this process with the doctors? Absolutely. Whoops, that went off quick. Absolutely. Yeah, of course you can. I've never been to doctors for a very, in fact, not in any time I've come to this village, but yeah, you can. They're a corporation. I wouldn't do it to, stay away from the little shops, stay away from us, we the people. But anything else, then yeah, for sure. Get into court. If you're going into court, definitely. Then, oh, well, there you go. I need that data. And that, I'm in court quite regularly. So, but the security staff, some of them are really nice. I'm actually going to get myself a little pendant. I have this pendant here. Look, see that on TikTok. That's a little bit of string wrapped around it. So sometimes I put it on my neck, but it hurts if it gets hit. It's copper. It's like infused with crystals, and it gives like EMF protection. Obviously, you're going into court nowadays. It's like going through an airport. All these stuff, So what we do is, with that, I have to empty your pockets to go in. And this woman's, oh, I like that, blah, 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 security officer. So I'm going to make her one, and I'm going to give her it. She was quite nice, but like generally they're very ignorant. So, hey, Beverly, how you doing? All right, cool. Do councils have the right to continue collect our data through rent, etc.? Now they've teamed up with British Gas through Evolve. So that's 3 companies with our data. Surely that's not right. Well, they probably are allowed. There'll be some legislation that they've said they can do that somewhere. However, you can still ask for your data. Now, this is the thing. It's about the attitude. Okay, so the people like British Gas, the councils, and the companies that pretend that they're actually supplying you with some power, their attitude's disgusting. They think they don't have to do any of this. They do though. So, obviously the ones that I've shared with you tonight, I'm going to, once I've finished the stream, which will be soon, then what I'll do is I'll download it from StreamYard. Although we are going live on YouTube and that and TikTok here, I will upload these SARs to the one I put on my normal channel. Okay. So, once you actually put that up on there, you'll be able to see the SEOs, but specifically for shopping. But I've got loads. I've been researching this for a long time, and I've been looking into how to do it. The banks massively overreach. Okay, I've got the ebook coming out soon again, just for all of these ones, with banks, with the councils, with online companies, all sorts. And at our event, checkmatethematrix.com, go and have a look for the tickets. Then there's a guy there, Aidan. He's an expert on security for your devices, your phones, your laptops, your computers, to stop the corporations invading it, and spying on you. And he can show you how to actually block them and stop them getting your information and downloading it all and taking it. So very good. Looking forward to what if you trademark your name? Well, there's ways of doing it. I've trademarked mine, and there's different ways of doing it for sure. Congratulations, and the same to you as well. What a lovely idea to gift that lady. What was that? What I'm saying is, what does our gas bill have to do with the council? Absolutely nothing, and you could do that, and you could actually question why you're given that. And then if they're actually given that information, that could be challenged. And then again, you can get compensation because that's a breach of your data. Valid point. Absolutely. Yeah. Challenge it all. Anyway, I wanted to go on and show, because the other day, we were showing you what John Doe, not his real name, from our group, and he's actually got, I think it was something like 17 or 19 cases he's working on now that are actually going through the process in different stages, from supermarkets, shopping malls, fast food restaurants, the big stores that you walk into. I don't want to say the names of them, but they're a stationery store. There you go. Trying to think what it was. All right, and he's like, gotten, and now he's just got his first payment. Right, so only been doing it since like a couple of months before Christmas. Been working it. We've been going over all the, that's why I wanted to show you the SERs to do it and to follow up, and also the verbal one, how to use that. Okay. All right, yeah, Beverly. Yeah, well, she was just nice, and it's a very stressful time, isn't it? Going into the court. I mean, I meditate and I sit with my mudras like this, or like this, or close them like this, But it is a very stressful thing, Hang on, I just have to verify TikTok by doing the puzzle. There we go. It's a jigsaw puzzle that if you've been on for an hour, they want you to do it. So I've done it. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, but she was decent enough, so I'm gonna make her a little thing, because she was into, she's got I can't think what it's called. So I've got these things, look, so like around my laptop computer and everything, and it stops the EMF attacking me, and various different things. Shungite, raw shungite, like that there, that if you that is very, very protective as well, to stop EMF energy attacking you, stuff like that. If you record the verbal, are you yourself not breaking GDPR? How are you? You are protecting yourself with evidence. What you're doing is you've got it there, you're recording it, you don't even have to show anyone's face, do you? Right? But and that's what we've got. So you're not breaking anything, you are protecting yourself. A lot of people say that. Is it possible that you're going to get barred from the stores? Is that not discrimination then? When all you're doing is following the law, legislation, current EU and UK legislation states everything that we follow is 100% legal. Now, if they're going to discriminate you for illegalities, that is an even bigger claim than GDPR. I'll be going, yes, bar me out of here, please. You know, what? Like your 3 grand compensation? To hell with that. I want the 20 grand for the discrimination. Shungite, yeah, owner, exactly that. Shungite, that's what I've got, and there's a lot of it in there as well. But we've got various different pyramids. I've got a copper pyramid as well, which holds it all. Show you the copper pyramid, which is a bigger one, right? Again, this helps your concentration. I put this on my head a lot with meditation. We'll think I'm mad now, but you got to do these things, don't you? Be careful with all that. Smash everything now. Okay. All right, cool. So, like I said, what I'm going to do is I am going to download this from StreamYard. So it's going out live, obviously, onto the YouTube and whatnot. But I will put it back up onto there. Use tinfoil hats. All these conspiracy theorists. Yeah, see, local chain store using AI cameras, proper sneaky, just got to look, right? Anything like that, then if they're using it, then you can claim against all of them. But the whole thing is about this trying to combat what they're doing. I'm not doing it just to be a pain, but these people are like selling all of your data, all right? And they're not giving you any money for it. So all of it, doing it like on the by the cameras, and when you're walking in, they're filming you. They're getting everything that you're buying. All of it is getting collected. The same thing with them store cards. So stop doing that. Stop joining their club to get a few quid off. You know. Well, you are more than welcome, and the same to you as well. So, and it is, yeah, Zoe, conspiracy facts. That's what you're not theorists. We are factists. You know. Um. So stress makes my condition worse. Proven fact. Holidays coming as the Tesco Little Morrison's going to hit them all. Yeah. And the ones I've also got another set of paperwork, SCRs, as well as notices for the ones that stop and search the bags when you're going out, because that is a tort. Once you've paid, and that is your private property, okay? And if they try to search your bag, that is a tort. And that there, right, that is massive. So any of those shopping centers or what do you call it, supermarkets that you go into, and they say, oh no, it's just store policy. No, 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 no. And you can claim against them big time. That is a tort. That is your private property. And I've got loads of case law, by the way, and the paperwork that we've got, that it's all in the ebook. But I'm going to be putting out, and we will do some YouTube videos about that. Yeah. I just, when I've seen a few people complain about it, I thought that's disgusting. So I made the correct paperwork to you can prosecute them for tort. That is a harm, to you. So yeah, I have got a website. Depends on what you want, but let me have a look. What should I give you? If you want to get like onto the mailing list, that would probably be the best one to do, because then if you get that one there, copy that for you. I'll put it on here. If you get on the mailing list, because then you get all of the videos coming out, you get all of like what's going on and everything. So just go there, claimyourstrawman.com. The reason why it's called claimyourstrawman.com is because of John Harris. Tell me if you know who John Harris is. Just go on there. There's nearly 60 of you there. There's like 30 of you on TikTok. Just put it up there. Do you know who John Harris is? And so that's why I use that straw man. he was on the film Strawman, Nature of the Cage. Has anyone ever seen it? Does anybody know anything about it? Yeah, that's why. That's why I call it. Nothing else, no other reason, you know. And because for him, because he was a legend, you know. Rest in peace. No longer with us. But should be remembered. And he's got some. There still is a lot of great videos, you know, that you can find with him, and the information that he gives, you know, or gave, you know, when he was around. So you know, just if you ever see it, just think about that. That's exactly why it's called that. But go on there, claimyourstrawman.com, and you can get onto the mailing list. You can get my free ebook there. You have a person, but you are not a person. And then, yeah, that's probably true as well, Khalsa. That's kind of what my feeling is as well. Oh, awesome. You knew him personally. That's brilliant. Yeah. But that's my feelings. Yeah. You know, far too much information, far too clever. He knew everything that was going on, and he was telling people, he was letting them know. And that's why. But yeah, so like you do that, go on to there, claimyourstrawman.com, and you can get like my ebook for free. Then you can get onto the mailing list, and then you get information of everything that's going on. We don't do many events, but we have got this big one, and I want it to happen once a year. So it's like the inner hexagon tickets or the VIP tickets sold out very quickly. Then after that, you know, the what do you call it, the standard tickets, but you can also get what do you call it, just live stream it if you can't get up to Newcastle. You know, you're going to miss a great event because Newcastle is the best city in the world. But apart from that, then, you know, if you can't get there, you can live stream it as well, you know. Well, I've got I'm going to tell you something about the car parking once very, very soon. Okay. So yeah, but yeah, you watch this video, is brilliant, man, David, brilliant. So, and there's a few of them knocking around, and you know, you just obviously you know all about the straw man. You know, it's not a theory. So you know, and these people say, oh yes, I've heard of that theory. What? Yeah, your legal fiction, your birth certificate, how they actually create you as a corporation, and they take away the placenta, which is what they use as the dead you, because you are not a person, you are the zygote. You know. So I'm just going to remove Facebook from here, from this stream. I'm having a bit of trouble with it, so get rid of that. You know, what's that say? Is it a breach if you are forced to update photo ID on your driving license? I don't know if it's going to be a breach to do that. I don't know. Look, I'm running out of water. Structured water, living water, not tap water. All right. Oh, you joined the list. Good for you. Awesome. Get on there. Okay, I'm going to end the stream now because I'll get it downloaded so I can put on the what do you call them? The SERs that I've told you about and read out to you. So anybody wants them, download them, and then you can start going to your shops. All right, you can start going to your shopping centers. Now you're just very politely using your rights and saying, "I want my data. I can see you've taken it. Thank you very much," and that's it. All right, but thank you for tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to stay there on TikTok a little while so I can actually get the stream closed down on YouTube, but I'll stay with you for a little while as we go through. Okay, take care, everyone. Probably be back on in the week. What is this? This is Tuesday. Thursday, I have my private group meeting, so that's a little bit more difficult for me to get on. All right. But thank you very much, everyone. See you all. See you, Zoe. See you, Nick. See you, Khalsa. Everyone, Dorian. Take care, John, Beverly, Bev. And hopefully see you all again. Take care. I'll just end this stream now, and I will add on all of the SERs